Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and we have a special guest today. Prince E is just he's an extraordinary artist, and I'm just going to use the word artist because I'm not going to refine him to just being a hip hop artist because he's so much more. Even though he is an extraordinary rapper, and I'm gonna let him tell you all about himself. But I'm honored to get a chance to talk to my brother today. How you doing today, man?
I'm wonderful. It's an honor to be here. Honor to be here.
Well, the honor's all mine. Now, the first dumb question I have to ask because I didn't write this down.
Okay.
What is your actual name? I know people call you Prince E, and it's spelled with
Yeah.
E-A. But
Yeah.
tell me your actual name.
Richard.
Richard.
That's Richard Williams. Yep.
Richard Williams. Okay, and
That's the government name.
your government name. Okay, so you are you from St. Louis? I know you're in St. Louis right now, right?
Yeah, born and raised. I don't know if you see the Cardinals.
Okay, okay.
Fan of the Cards, man. But yeah, born and raised, man. The home of Nelly, Chingy, great music. Um, beautiful place here.
All right. Well, it's a very nice area. I've had a chance to go out there a few times, and I know you're not too far from Ferguson. You had
Mm-hmm.
that unrest kind of going on there, and so saying there's a lot kind of going on there, and then also just in general the Midwest in terms of the music scene. A lot of people kind of sleep on what's happening in the Midwest as far as
Mm-hmm.
music. Do you feel that way?
You know, I do. But if you really think about it, some of the greatest, have come out of the Midwest, from Kanye to Common to Eminem. It's all the lyricists. The strong lyrics seem to originate from here. I mean, the East Coast is great, West Coast is great too. Everybody has their own flavor, but we the Midwest, yeah, it doesn't get talked about as much. Usually it's West Coast artists, or you from New York, so.
Yeah,
Sometimes my style, sometimes people used to say, "Are you from St. Louis, York?" Yeah, because my style was such a amalgamation of different rappers.
wow. Well, it's funny. I was talking to my homeboy Vigilante, who happens to be from Kansas City, and and he tells me that a lot of artists come to the Midwest. They'll come to St. Louis or Kansas City, whatever. And they kind of think, oh, I'm in this sort of sleepy little place that people don't really talk about, and they kind of get ate up. They run into a guy like Tech Nine,
Mm,
who is extraordinary, and they find out that there is a lot of talent there that doesn't get talked about.
mm,
Now, what about yourself? Where would you put yourself in this? Because I was hesitant to define you because I've seen you do, I've seen you flow as a rapper. You did the rapping nerd thing, which was brilliant. Everybody loved that. Which I love for people to see that video. But then
right.
you have some spoken word stuff. So what are you? Is there a way you can define yourself in so many words, or is that tough to do?
No, it's possible. I'm an artist, and but I was always fascinated with the power of communication, the art of communication, and my main message, whatever vehicle it comes in, whether it's rap, whether it's spoken word, whether it's directing film, is to galvanize the listener to make some type of internal change inside themselves, to realize the power that they have within. So whatever dish that's served on, I'm going at it. So I'm not too attached to rap or hip hop. I'm not attached to spoken word or speaking. I just want to communicate messages. It's simple.
Well, I like that analogy because even as a scholar, which I consider to be a fellow scholar, because everybody, I want you to know this brother is brilliant. I want you to go check out his work. I go through that same thing when I see the internet as this amazing classroom with hundreds of thousands of people in it, and how you communicate. There's so many styles, right? You want to have multiple styles because different people absorb information in different ways. So I'll
Yeah.
say, okay, do I want to do a video? Do I want to do something audio? Do I want to write an article? Do I want it to be long? Do I want it to be short? Do I want to communicate with a tweet? Right? And I tell people the whole time I'm teaching. It's just you teach with different styles, right? Just like a rapper.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's beautiful. That's the Buddhists say that's skillful means. For me, the spoken word pieces I think have been successful. One of the reasons why is because I touch on all those different types of learning, and absorbing information, which is the visual. Obviously, it's this visual, it's an aesthetic piece. The music, so for auditory listeners and learners, and also the written word that I have, the kinetic typography on the video. So bringing all those together to create this one unique piece has been very successful.
Wow, I love it. Well, I'll tell people that you have first and foremost. I want y'all, in case you all don't know about the great things that Prince he's done. I'm going to brag about him a little bit. I'm not going to capture the entirety of everything he's done, and from what I understand, he's so humble. He's not going to really tell you. So let me just tell you a little bit about why I think this brother's work is amazing. Number one, he has about 2 million fans on Facebook. 2 million. And the fans love him. There's something about his spirit that really resonates with them. Also, you had a video not too long ago. I think it had to do with the environment, and
Mhm.
I could have sworn that video had something like 2 or 3 million views on the first day. What
Mhm.
what was the total? Have you hit what 20 million, 25 million on that?
You're right. Right now, I think it's at 85 million on Facebook. Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think I've hit 1.5 million or something like that. I mean 85 million, very few people have that kind of reach, that kind of impact on that broad of an audience, including a lot of the, mainstream types of names that are out there. So I'm curious, tell me this. As far as your business setup, are you signed to a label, or what's your situation as far as the business goes?
yeah, yeah. I'm totally free. I'm totally autonomous. I have a small team, a group of people that I work with, people that give me advice. Travis, Tara, shout out to them. But I got a very small team, and it's all been organic. I've been doing this for about 8 years, creating content, and I've learned the game. I've learned. I'm very interested in what people watch and what people like to share. So and I think I've tapped into, or kind of found the recipe, you could say, to kind of mix a positive message with what people like and enjoy watching and sharing. So the shareability of it. So it's all me. I create my own schedule. People reach out. I've got a manager, but it's a small group over here, and we just, the internet. What they say, can make mice roar. And I'm definitely roaring out here.
I like that. I like that. Well, you're no mouse, but you're definitely roaring, brother. Uh, okay. So now I'll say this. There's another artist. In fact, when I talk to young artists that reach out to me, you know how it is. Every day, somebody sends you an email or two or three. Hey, can you check out my video? Check out my song. I get a lot of those, and
Okay.
and a lot of times when I talk to them about how to get themselves out there, I point to two people pretty much as far as artists that appear to be independent. I wasn't even sure what your status was, but it actually confirms what I thought. And it's yourself and D1. I don't know if you know much about D1. He's out of New Orleans, and I remember D when I asked him, I said, well, has anyone approached you about signing? Well, why didn't you sign with anybody? And he just said that most of the labels, that the deals that he was offered didn't make any sense. Some of it came with baggage in terms of the expectations of how he had to reshape his image, because he's very committed to being positive and using hip hop to instill life in people as opposed to injecting death, which some of our music does, unfortunately, right? Do you have? I'm sure you're getting approached by labels at some point. I mean, somebody's, I'm sure, approaching you about something.
Yeah.
How do those conversations go? I mean, what happens that keeps you from kind of signing on to a corporate situation?
Yeah. Well, for me, man, I've been blessed with a very humble, very Spartan look on life. I don't need much. So you can't, a label or the fame. It doesn't truly appeal to me, or the material wealth that I would get from signing to a label. Who doesn't appeal to me, even though, like, D1 was saying, like, the deals aren't really all that if you really know the business and the 360s and all of that interesting stuff. So we live in a new day where it's a direct to consumer industry now, and I think that the labels and the businesses, the corporate model, is really being phased out. They're trying to hang on, but it's really being phased out, and that's why branding is so important. And really communicating with your fans directly. You know, you don't need a middleman. You don't need a $100,000 promotional campaign on TV when you got YouTube. You know, because that's how I always thought. You know, 8 years ago when I first started in my college dorm room, I thought, you know, should I do a show in front of 300 people, or should I create a video that can potentially reach 300,000 people? And it was a no brainer.
Wow, that's smart. It's funny we're just meeting because we actually think a lot alike. Because I've said the same thing. I would get invited to go across the country to go give a speech to 2 or 300 people, and I would tell people, I would say I don't really want to do that because on the internet, if you know how to work it, you can reach hundreds of thousands of people very very quickly. Um, and so I'm impressed with that. Let me ask you this. So tell me about your background. I'm very curious to know what shaped you. First of all, you went to college. Where'd you go to school?
I went to school down here in St. Louis, University of Missouri, St. Louis. Studied anthropology. Um, Graduated summa cum laude. And in high school, however, I was a very complacent kid, student. Didn't enjoy education. Didn't. I only did decent in school to kind of make my parents happy. It didn't really mean much to me. I was interested in girls and basketball until I came into contact with some conscious hip hop artists and guys like Immortal Technique and Cannabis and Razcast and Pump PE. You know, these guys that had me just falling out of my chair, you know, really. And I was in the library researching not only the concepts that they were, you know, conveying in their songs over these amazing beats, but the vocabulary. You know, people, you know, when I spoke to people, my vocabulary was on a different level now that I'm listening to these guys. So it was really like hip hop was the catalyst for my my academic success. I could put it just like that. But yeah, you know, studied anthropology. I'm interested in, you know, who, for everybody that doesn't know what anthropology is, it's the study of humans across time and space. Cultural anthropology, archaeology are all subdisciplines of anthropology. I've been interested in mankind for a very long time. I'm weird though. I'm also interested in like aliens and, you know, cultural, like just anomalies throughout history. Like that stuff fascinated me and propelled me to eventually get my degree in anthropology.
Well, I don't think there's anything weird about that. In fact, I think that that's what makes you unique is that you're not afraid to be who you are. I even saw that when you did the rapping nerd thing. I'm actually gonna take a little piece of a clip and put it on here so people can see it. Because I think what was it? I think when you did that, who was it? Killer Mike, I think, was
So
around.
Mike,
Yeah, and he
yeah,
saw that was talking about how great it was, how brilliant it was, and I think that the fact that you allow yourself to be human,
mm,
it expands your ability to express yourself in music, right?
mm,
I mean, that's what music's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a form of self-expression. And so, if some corporation is telling you exactly what to say, you're supposed to rap about this and the women and the clubs and the guns and this. That's not expression anymore. That's not
right,
free speech anymore. That's corporate speech. So I
exactly.
love it. In fact, it makes me think about the reasons that when I talked about Eminem and what made him special is I said he's a weird guy, very weird, scary weird, but he's
Mm,
expressing himself, so he's a true
mm,
artist in that regard.
yeah.
Now with that being said, I'll ask you one more question.
Mhm.
Now I saw one of your videos where you did something where you went backwards. There's yet another creative thing. Just so everybody knows, anything he does, it's always going to be different. It's just never exactly what you see, on TV. And you were going backwards, and you did the whole song, and then you did the whole song backwards.
Mhm.
And you mentioned at the end that you wanted to make smart cool, if I'm not mistaken. Tell
Mhm.
me some of the thinking, behind that sort of music. How does that connect with who you are and what you want to become as an artist?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you just said it, you know, being yourself, you know, I think that's being smart, you know, I created this company several years ago, Make Smart Cool Smart, being an acronym for sophisticating millions and revolutionizing thought. And we want to popularize the notion of intelligence and creativity and connection and unity and, you know, all of these different things. I really, you know, I take a look at you know how, you know, the educational model is today, and it's still the chalk and talk. I think that we need a total reformation, a total an innovative spirit in teaching our youth, because they are the future, as cliche as that sounds. And as we were saying before, there's so many different ways to educate, so many different level types of intelligences, right? So the multiple types of intelligences, and you got auditory learners, you got kinesthetic learners. People, I consider LeBron James a genius just from what he can do with his body in space. It's very graceful. So you got auditory, you got kinesthetic, you got visual, and a lot of times well, I think the academic system, the way it is today, is antiquated and obsolete. And I want to use tools like the internet to really educate my listeners and viewers. But overall, I really, like I said before, I really want to give the message of just understanding who you are, because that comes first. You can't do anything successfully, I don't think, before you know who you are. Even if you reach some level of attainment, you'll look back and say, "Hey, that really wasn't me." As the old saying goes, you'll climb a ladder realizing it was against the wrong wall, so to speak. So that's what I do in my music and my art, and I'm lucky enough to have millions of viewers. But the funny thing is, the very interesting thing is, I told you I've been doing this for 8 years. I'm sorry, I'm rambling right now, but the first 7 of those 8 years, I might have accumulated 25 million views, which is a lot. But the past year, I think it's over 250 million views collectively on all of my pieces. And the question then becomes, what changed? And I think what changed, I didn't get into this in my story, but I was very competitive when I was doing the hip hop, and it was very like hip hop is very braggadocio, and I'm better than you. And even though it was always on an intellectual level, it still had that element in it. It still had a ego-driven element in it. And then I just stopped. It wasn't making me happy, and then I just stopped. I completely quit. Like Travis will tell you, I quit. I didn't want to do it anymore. So I went on this spiritual journey. And when I say spiritual journey, I don't mean I climbed the Himalayan mountains and played chess with the Dalai Lama. I just looked inside of myself. And I read texts, I read books, a lot of great teachers, from Pema Chodron to Ram Dass to the Buddha to Jesus, like all of these people that have the same message of knowing who you are. And what I found out of that journey was peace, love, and stillness. And now I create from that place. I always say, life is really it's a very short dream, and we don't know if we're gonna live 50 years, 5 years, or 5 minutes. So we got to do what we want to do right now. We got to operate from our truest point right here, right now. And so I did that, and I create every piece thinking about that. What if this is my last piece? What am I gonna say? What's worth saying? And I've had a lot of people share my passions ever since.
Wow, wow. So it sounds like you have been working towards some kind of self-actualization.
Mm,
I mean, it sounds like this. I mean, and really, people should know. I mean, the greatest thinkers in history, that's what they've achieved. And it sounds like you won the competition by removing the competition from your mental space and kind of going to a different place. So now
wow.
you're in a lane all by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. Because I think that it's so funny you mentioned that, because I remember when I was advising a young artist by the name of Dre Priest out of Kentucky, and I told him, I said, there are a whole lot of rappers talking about a whole lot of the same stuff, and it's a cluttered space. So find out, and I told him, I said, before you explain to everybody else who you are, you need to find out who you are first, so you
Mm,
can tell them, so you can give them an accurate portrayal of who you are. And then as you have found, it sounds, you find that you're very good at being who you are. You're not very good at being somebody else, right?
mm,
So by
mm,
being who you are, you have your own lane. I mean, there's no other artist really doing what you're doing. I mean, there's some great artists out there. You mentioned Immortal Technique, for example, just one of the most brilliant, amazing people ever, right? And so I respect that, man. And here's something else I'm gonna tell you, and then
mm,
I'll let you get the last word in, brother. I was actually talking this week to Damon Dash, from Rockefeller,
Hmm.
about this project we're doing called Intelligent Boss Moves, and two things he said that actually fit exactly with what you have just described. And it's interesting because you and Dame are different types of people, but it's interesting that you mentioned two things that he mentioned. One was what you said about this direct to consumer thing. I asked him. I said, what would you do differently if you were doing the Rockefeller Jay-Z thing now versus in the 90s? He said, well, now you can go direct to consumer. There's no reason to have all the middlemen and the frustrating meetings and where you're waiting in the lobby 3 hours for the executive to come out and they're disrespecting you because they know that you have to go through them and all that. And then the second thing he brought up that you mentioned was, he literally said, now it's cool to be smart.
Mm.
He said everybody wants to be smart because it's cool to be smart.
Wow.
And so it looks like you headed in the right direction, man. Last thing I'll ask you, and then I'll let you get back to your day, man. You just went to Portugal, and you met did you say the Prince of Monaco? Is that, is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What's going on with that?
Man, listen. I can't explain it either, but a kid from the north side of St. Louis is flying over to meet royalty. It's fascinating. Basically, from creating pieces out of my bedroom, they have spread across the world and garnered a lot of attention. I'm going like next week. I'm going to be in London and then Singapore and Germany, and like it's really amazing where your craft when you're coming from this place right here, where it can take you. It was but specifically to speak to that, yeah, it was the Dear Future Generation Sorry piece, the piece on environment and deforestation. It was a big stage. We played the piece. I spoke for maybe 5 minutes and got a round of applause. And he wanted to. He's like, let me talk to this kid. So I'm getting the message. Oh, he wants to. I know it was his event. I didn't think I'd get a chance to meet him. I was invited by another prince, Prince Charles Philippe. D'Orleans, but he's like he wants to talk to me, so he's asking me if I'm going to be at COP 21, which is the big climate summit in Paris at the end of the year. I'll be there, and yeah, it's amazing to have that introduction and potentially build a relationship with some royalty.
My brother, hey, I love it, man. I have a feeling that this is only the beginning. And I want to congratulate you on all your success. It's amazing to watch, and what I'm really impressed by is the fact that you've done it independently. So anybody watching, go to Prince EA's page or Prince E. I keep calling it EA because the
Yeah,
A is there. Yeah, sorry about that. But go to Prince E's page. Not only support him, but also those who are trying to figure out the right business model. Pay attention. It's all about understanding the models, and this brother has it figured out. Well, I want to say thank you very much, man. I appreciate your time.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Boyce Watkins. It was amazing, an amazing honor to be here. Thank you again.
Oh, absolutely. The honor is all mine. All right, everybody, one more time. This is Prince E, a.k.a. Richard Williams, but that's the government name. We ain't going to use that. And I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.
104.1 Hazelwood, St. Louis. It's STL Home Jams. Playing the best home jams talent in the area.
Yeah. Yo. Yo. I'ma show what's in my head right now. To be direct, I'm a little stressed, yep, and upset right now. Mom, don't talk about karma, how I'm blessed right now. If karma existed, these bullies, they'll be dead right now. See, I've been bullied all my life, picked on and picked last. At Lincoln High today, I cried and I skipped class. They all laughed when I said that I can rap, but I can rap, I promise you that. So what if I'm a nerd and I know the first 20 digits of pi? I can rap better than all of those rappers that they idolize. I said, so what if I'm a nerd? I can rap, let's play a game. Who am I? My therapist says that I'm scared of commitment and very demented ever since I told him I licked marinara off of venereal sickness. Kim, I don't care if you listen. You talking to Marshall Trick. I married a Blair Witch and then bury you with her. I'm very committed to charities. Last week I performed with my hair with Willow at a chemotherapy clinic. It's your boy Young Hov in the building. So necessary. Y'all see my videos and swear I got the devil in them. Hobie, I just made another 7 trillion. Me and B sipping on them drinks with umbrellas in them. Last name ever. First name greatest, middle name Blackberry. Shout out to my haters. out. Bring it back, trick, slingshot. Young money all up in your mouth. Ring pop, yeah. Me and Nikki getting married, and Weezy is the preacher, so I hope you just read it. Cause we gon' pop bottles of Moscato and confetti. Charlie Sheen, yeah, we winning, no confetti. Illuminati tried to finish me. 15 years later, you remember me. Hail Mary still pouring out that Hennessy. West side till we die, riding on our enemies. I was appalled to set the record straight. We outlaws to them thugs that they love to hate. I love to hate, but I'm here to spit the facts. It's Prince E. I just proved that nerds can rap, and I'm done.
Let's give him
y'all got a bunch of talented artists up here. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, y'all. The nerd kid that was rapping was absolutely wow.
Yo, we just got out the radio station, man. Shout out 104.1. This the Cypher, man. We calling out traffic. Kill it, man.